There was an old man in a quiet village. People said he was the unhappiest person they'd ever met, always complaining, always bitter. But on his 80th birthday, he smiled for the first time in his life. What changed? Why did he finally stop chasing happiness? His name was Samuel. He lived in a small, quiet village where everyone knew everyone. But Samuel? He wasn't known for being friendly, or generous, or wise. He was known for being unhappy. Every single day, Samuel would step outside with a frown so heavy it could turn a sunny morning into something cold. He complained about everything. The bread was too dry. The air was too hot. The birds were too loud. The children were too messy. No matter what was happening, Samuel found a reason to be miserable. And he didn't keep it to himself. He shared his frustration with everyone around him. Some neighbors avoided walking past his house. Shopkeepers rushed to finish his order. Even children whispered, "Don't go near him. He'll ruin your day." But here's what confused everyone the most. Samuel had no big problems. He had a home, food on his table, a warm bed, even decent health for someone his age. So why was he always so angry, so bitter, so empty? No one knew, but something inside Samuel was deeply restless, like he was looking for something and never finding it. Samuel woke up at the same time every morning, just before sunrise, not because he loved mornings, but because sleep never gave him rest. He would walk out to his garden with a cup of tea, stand there frowning at the sky, as if even the clouds were disappointing him. Then came the routine, a slow walk to the village square. Same complaints, same words, same tired sighs. The bread is too hard today. Why are the prices so high? Kids these days, no respect. He would say it out loud, not caring who heard him, not even waiting for a response. And if someone dared to smile at him or say, "Good morning," Samuel would just look away, cold, distant, exhausted by life. It wasn't just his words. It was in his eyes, a deep, worn-out sadness, like he'd been carrying an invisible weight for years. People in the village talked about him often. "He's always been like that," they said. "Maybe he had a hard life. Maybe he lost someone. Or maybe he just doesn't know how to be happy." Some felt sorry for him. Others were annoyed by him. But everyone agreed on one thing. Samuel wasn't living. He was just existing, day by day, moving through life like a man searching for something he'd never find. But the strangest part? No one knew what he was searching for. Not even Samuel himself. On the morning of his 80th birthday, something strange happened. Samuel woke up as usual. Same time, same tea, same walk to the garden. But this time, he didn't frown at the sky. He looked up and smiled. Not a big smile, not loud or dramatic, just soft, peaceful, almost like he'd let go of something heavy. When he walked to the bakery that morning, the owner braced himself. He expected the usual complaint about the bread, but instead, Samuel said, "Thank you. It smells wonderful today." The baker just stood there, stunned, like he'd seen a ghost. Samuel walked on, nodding at people as he passed them. He greeted the shopkeeper. He waved at a child. He even stopped to admire a flower growing from a wall crack. It wasn't just his words that changed. It was his entire presence. He looked lighter, younger even, as if something inside him had finally made peace. The villagers were shocked. Whispers spread quickly. "Did you see Samuel today? He smiled at me. He thanked me. For real. What's going on?" No one could explain it. For 80 years, Samuel had lived in a cloud of complaints and unhappiness. And now, just like that, the cloud was gone. But how? What happened? What changed? Later that day, a young man named Elias, one of the few people who still looked at Samuel with curiosity instead of fear, walked up to him. Elias had seen Samuel for years. He had heard the grumbling, the shouting, the silence. But today, he saw something he had never seen before. A smile. Not forced, not fake. Just real. So Elias asked softly, "Sir, if you don't mind me asking, what happened? You seem different today." Samuel paused. He looked at the boy. Really looked. Then turned his eyes toward the hills in the distance. And after a moment, he said, "For 80 years, I've been chasing happiness. I chased it in money, in respect, in people, in routines. I told myself I'd be happy once I had more, or when things changed, or when people treated me better. But no matter what I did, it never came." He picked up a small rock from the ground and rolled it gently in his hand. "And then this morning, I woke up and realized I'm tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix, but the kind that comes from always running after something." He looked back at Elias and said quietly, "So I stopped. I stopped chasing happiness, and I just allowed it." Elias blinked. He wasn't sure he fully understood. Samuel continued, "I noticed the tea in my cup. I felt the warmth of the sun. I watched a bird land near my window, and for the first time in my life, I didn't want anything more than that moment. He smiled again. Not as a man who figured out life, but as a man who had finally stopped fighting it. After that day, something strange began to happen in the village. People, who once crossed the road to avoid Samuel, started walking by his home on purpose. Some would wave, some would stop and chat, some would sit beside him in the garden, just to be near him. And Samuel welcomed them. He didn't say much, but when he did, people listened. There was a calmness in his voice now, a softness in his eyes, like a man who had nothing left to prove, only something to give. Children who used to run away from him now sat near his feet, listening to his stories. Not stories of fame or adventure, but simple things, like how the moon looks different depending on where you stand, or how the sound of leaves rustling can feel like music, or how peace isn't something you wait for, it's something you choose. Over time, people started saying something new. Samuel has changed. He's wise now. He sees the world differently, and they were right. Samuel didn't become rich. He didn't write a book. He didn't leave the village. But somehow, in his final years, he became someone people looked up to, not because he had all the answers, but because he had finally found peace. Those last few years, they were his best. Not because the world changed, but because he did. Let me ask you something. Are you chasing happiness? Are you telling yourself, I'll be happy when I get that job, when I move to a better place, when I'm in a relationship, when I finally prove them wrong? It's okay if you are. We all do it. But maybe, just maybe, happiness isn't something you find later. Maybe it's something you can feel now, in small, quiet ways. Look around you. Is there something near you right now that's worth noticing? A gentle breeze? A warm drink? The sound of birds outside your window? Someone who cares about you, even silently? We miss these things because we're too busy chasing the big things. But Samuel learned, and maybe we can learn too, that peace doesn't come from more. It comes from enough. It comes from letting go of the chase and simply being where you are. You don't need a perfect life to feel happy. You just need a quiet moment and the courage to feel it. So remember what Samuel said. I stopped chasing happiness, and I just allowed it. He didn't find it in a new house, or a new job, or applause from others. He found it in stillness, in silence, in this moment, just as it was. And maybe that's where your peace is too. Not somewhere far away, not in the future, but here, now, in the ordinary things you've been walking past. So tonight, before you sleep, pause for a second, put your phone down, take a breath, notice the quiet, and ask yourself, what if I already have enough? Because sometimes, the happiest people aren't the ones who have more, they're the ones who stopped running and started seeing. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched you in any way, consider sharing it with someone who might need it. Until next time, stay kind, stay present, and stay human.